Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Can't believe it's Wednesday in the middle of July. Who can believe it? I can't believe it. I'm so excited for it, though. So just to give you fair warning, okay, so to give you fair warning, there's a really, really bad storm outside. And sometimes when there is like a terrible storm outside, then that means that my internet is gonna go down. So I'm just giving you that heads up. When you're here, say hi. Hopefully, if you're in my area, you're not caught in this terrible storm. I made it in with the dog right before it happened. But yeah, I'm excited about today. I can't wait to talk about this topic, about the missing ingredient that is keeping you from getting more clients. When you're here, say hi. Let me know you're here. That way I'll know it's working. And again, FYI, there's a huge storm a-raging outside right now, and my lights keep flickering, and we're just going to see. We're going to see what happens. But say hi. Let me know you're here. So what we're talking about today, this missing ingredient, right? We've kind of been talking about it for the first half of the week in the Women's Business Garden. So I'm wondering how many of you, and if you're here live and if you're watching on replay, how many of you feel like you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, but you don't have the number of clients that you wish you had, or you're getting a lot of sales calls, but those sales calls aren't converting to clients, or maybe you're not even getting sales calls. So I'm just curious, when you're here, when you're watching on replay, kind of let me know where you're at in the whole getting client cycle. Is it that you have difficulty scheduling sales calls with people, or whatever you call them, like clarity calls, discovery calls, consultations? Or is it that you're having trouble, once you have these calls, getting these people to turn into clients? And again, guys, the storm outside is insane. There's a very good chance that my internet is gonna go down. Hi, Arena. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Elena. Elena, sorry. I'm like sitting here watching. My poor dog is shaking at my feet. So sad. I've got like my Diva light turned on super bright because normally I have daylight right now. But let me know. So when it comes to your sales, when it comes to clients, where do you think your biggest challenge is? Is it getting people to talk to you about their challenges and to consider you as a solution? Meaning, is it difficult to get people on a sales call with you, whatever you call those sales calls? Or is your challenge with, no, I have plenty of sales calls, I'm having sales calls all the time, but none of them seem to be signing on for, to work with me for clients. Oh, yay. So Arena, so last week, what Arena's talking about, she says, hi, Rita. Huge thanks for last week's Facebook Live. I created an evidence box and it feels so good. So we were talking a little bit about like really being able to tap into your strength and your skills, and to remind yourself during some of the more difficult times that you have the ability to navigate all kinds of situations. And one of the best ways was an evidence box. So if you don't know what that is, make sure you watch last week on the 10th, the Facebook Live from last week. Yeah, I closed my blinds so that if there was lightning, my dog wouldn't see it, but now he's like in the bathroom, very like scared. So I don't know what's happening outside at all. I've got no clue, but I feel like it got really bad really quickly, right? So we'll see. We'll see how long I can go here. But let me know, where is the difficulty with you? Or it might not even be a difficulty, but where is the biggest challenge for you when you're getting clients? Is it getting people to get on the phone with you and have sales calls with you? Or is it, no, I have plenty of those, but they're not converting into clients? Hello, Heather. So Arena's like, I don't know how to ask for a sales call or when to ask for a sales call. Okay. So who else is like that? Like you have difficulty just getting sales calls for whatever reason, right? And how much of it too is, no, get sales calls, just not converting. So I want to know, right? And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the missing ingredient. So I'm sure all of you have heard, right, that to make a sale, you need to connect emotionally with your target audience. How many of you have heard that before? Yes? Just say yes or no if you've heard that before. How many of you have heard that? That people buy with their emotions, and so if you want to make sales, you need to connect on an emotional level with your audience, with your target market. Yes? No? How many of you have heard that? And then how many of you then equate that to talking about your target market's challenges, their frustrations, their pain points, right? The things that your service or your product solve. So type that for me in the chat, actually. If you're here live and if you're on replay, go ahead and type it too. What solution do you provide? Who do you help and what solution do you provide? I'm curious about that. Hi, Yulia. Hi, Angie. Hi, Vicki. Hi, everybody. Maybe I need to do Facebook Lives in bad weather more days, although the lighting is insane. So, but type it in chat. I'll give you a minute. What is it that you do for people? Again, like the news. It's Rita with the 5 o'clock news, the 5 o'clock business news. Let's see what you guys say. You say, not enough, okay? But go ahead and tell me. Like, I am Rita, right? And I help women entrepreneurs to put courage before comfort, to increase their reach and their revenue, right? Or to put courage before comfort so they can take actions that will increase their reach so they build a profitable business, right? That's what I do. So the solution is people aren't making enough money, and I mean that problem is people are not making enough money, and they're not getting the clients that they want. And my solution is I help them through mindset and relationships and strategy and action to get the clients they want and to make the money they want and to step into the opportunities that they want so they can make the impact that they want while being profitable. So Vicki says, I help women and teens who want the best, most effective skincare without risking their health. Okay. Who else? And I'm going to let these come in while I kind of like jump in. Hi, Rhonda. See, and Vicki helps young teen entrepreneurs gain real life skills. Julia helps women entrepreneurs to be likable, knowable, and trustable in order to grow their business. Arena helps women entrepreneurs stand out in a crowd. I attract their ideal target clients and save tons of time creating social media content. Okay, these are great, right? So what is it then, right, when you're thinking about getting clients, what is it that you tell people about why they want to hire you? That's the next thing I want to see. Why would they want to hire you? Or why would they want to join your group? Or why would they want to pay for whatever product or whatever service you're selling? Like, why? That's what I want to hear. When you're trying to like illustrate and showcase to people, why do they want to buy your product? Why do they want to buy your service? What are some of the points that come up for you that you would tell them, talk to them about, or show them? Hi, Cheryl. Heather says, I help people love walking into their homes at the end of the day. And it changes lives because it ripples, you know, it just ripples. Let's just leave it there because it does, right? When you love your home environment, a lot about your life can change. But now I want to know, okay, great. So now we know who you help and what you help them with. But like, why do they want to buy it? Why? What do you tell them when you're talking to them? And they're like, okay, so why? Why do I want to buy it? I'm going to give you time. I know it's a little bit longer to type, so. And I'll see a few answers. We all deserve to have spaces that we feel comfortable, loved, cared for, safe. How about this? To say yes or no, how many of you feel like you do a really good job or a decent enough job, or how many of you at least do the job of telling your potential clients how your product or solution solves a problem in their life, solves a challenge in their life? How many of you are good at doing that, or at least are doing that? You might not know if you're good at it or not, but how many of you are doing that? You know the challenge or the problem, that your product or your solution, or your service solves? How many of you know that and communicate that and feel like you communicate that to potential clients? And here, and I'm going to let you guys type your answers, right? I see that Arena typed an answer about why she does what she does, and Yulia says, yes, I do that. Heather says, I'm getting better at it slowly. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Nina. So here's the thing, right, that I've noticed lately, that I've been talking to a lot of people who are calling me for clarity calls for potential coaching, and their issue is people are interested. They're saying that my product or my service actually could solve a problem in their life. They're saying, yeah, I understand that business coaching can help me get clients. I understand that health coaching can help me get energy. I understand that photographs, right? Brand photography can help me, guys. The weather is insane. Helps me. I'm trying to ignore it, but it's like, rah. And you can tell I got stuck in the rain right before coming here. I understand that brand photography helps me to stand out among my competitors, right? So this is what made me talk about this topic, because this is kind of a new thing that's coming up. I don't know if it's the clients that I'm working with, right? We've kind of started them from early infancy of a business to where they are now, which is pretty successful and in it. And the challenge, though, it seems across the board, because I did a little poll to find out, is that people are saying, yeah, I get it. I get that interior decorating or interior design, Heather, and decorating and feeling good in my, can it make me feel good in my home? I understand that. And yes, I have that problem. I don't love my home. And people are like, yes, I understand that I have the challenge that your product or service solves, and I understand that your product or service solves it. And they're still not buying. How many of you have encountered that, where people are saying, yeah, I get it. I get what your product or service does, and I agree. This would help eliminate a pain point in my life. This would help me overcome a challenge. If I were to have this thing, it would help me achieve a result. And I'm still not purchasing. How many of you have found that to be true? And so that's how this topic came about. Because what people are being told, and I say this too because it's true, but it's not the entire piece of the puzzle, which I think some people are leaving out. But it's the idea of, yes, you need to connect emotionally, right, with your target audience, meaning you need to know what their challenges are. You need to know what their daily frustrations are, and you need to understand how what you do takes away those challenges, how what you do solves those problems, how what you do gives them the results that they want. But that's not enough to get the sale. Okay, and that's not enough to get the sale. And I'm using language people can relate to. I really don't like the phrase personally, get the sale, because I think it's more about really solidifying the relationship, right? Working together, but we're gonna call it getting the sale. And that's not enough to get the sale. It's not enough to say, I have a service and you have a problem and my service solves your problem, and illustrating that, and they see it and they recognize it and they know it's true. That's just not enough to still get the sale, to still close the deal. And I'm curious if you guys know why, right? If you know why. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Many of you are encountering objections around money or around time or around, there are things I have to take care of first, right? Everybody gets these objections, right? I want to kind of pull back a layer though and show you what's really going on. Okay, what's really going on. And Heather says, yeah, they say they have a big budget, but they'll tell me they can't afford my work session fee. They don't want to pay for my labor, right? And Arena and Yulia say they experience trouble closing clients, even though potential clients are aware that what Arena and Yulia do will give them a result that they want. So why? Why is it? Why is that happening? Well, it's kind of the way that the buyer cycle works, that the client experience, right? And the client experience is before they ever become a client, when they first know about you, all the way until after they're done working with you and they're singing your praises out to the world, okay? So that's the full span of a client experience. It's more like a circle, right? It's never ending, but really it's like from before they know you exist all the way until after they've worked with you, and hopefully they're singing your praises across the land. So that's the client experience. And the way that the client experience works is that people need to really, I'm sure you've heard this phrase before, right? People need to trust you. People need to trust you in order to want to give you money. So here's the thing, right? For products and services that have a lower price point, the level of trust that's needed is smaller, right? Often it's smaller. So that's why you can be in a grocery store. I heard this example the other day. You can be in a grocery store and you're looking for, I don't know, bread or something, right? Like you're looking at all the canned vegetables or whatever, and you don't need that long to just kind of pick up a can and look and pick one and put it in your cart, right? Maybe you already have some trust in what you picked up because you already have had an experience with them, right? Or you have heard about them from someone else. So if you've had an experience with them, an encounter with the company that makes the canned vegetables, if you have heard about it from somebody that you trust, right? And so you know that they liked the vegetables or whatever, right? Then it's definitely going to be short. You're going to pick it up and be like, yep, that's the one, and throw it in the cart, right? But let's say you don't have any of that. This is just like every single can of vegetables in front of you at the grocery store you're not familiar with. Okay, so you're not familiar with them. So this is your first time becoming aware, right, of the canned vegetables. I don't know, it's so silly. I, again, use situations that I've never actually been in as my examples. So I pick up a can and I'm gonna look once or twice and then I'm gonna throw it in the cart and go because it's low risk, right? It's a low risk. But the higher the cost, I'm not just gonna go and look at a sofa and just kind of look and be like, okay, that's the one, right? And then add to cart a $15,000 sofa and just hope it works out. like I hope that sofa really feels comfortable. No, right? I'm gonna investigate sofas. I'm gonna read about sofas. I'm gonna have to think about sofas. I'm gonna investigate the company. Are they a good company? Do they do good business? If I give them my money, is it going to be a good delivery? What if something happens with the sofa? Are they going to give me a refund, right? So it's going to take longer, right? It's going to take longer for me to add that item to my cart. Well, how many of you would honestly say that the work that you do requires a higher investment? That your service or even your product in comparison to other products that kind of do the same thing, perform the same function, how many of you would say that it does? It requires, you know, not what you would consider just a quick, easy, no risk investment, but it's a higher investment, right? And the same thing for a designer, right? So I'm talking about the couch, Heather's like, that's why I use a designer, but like a designer is also a high investment. And so I need to go through all the same considerations with a designer. Are they gonna, you know, how do they work? Are they gonna perform a good service? Are they gonna be there for me when I need them? Are they gonna fall? Are they actually able to design? Are they gonna be able to do what they say? So I'm not just gonna pick a designer and add Heather to my cart either without doing some due diligence when it's a higher investment service or product, right? So Rena's like, I just realized it's not just higher the cost, it takes longer to trust, but it's also a cost of mistake. Yep, it took me forever, right? Like there could be repercussions if I hand over $15,000 to Heather to come decorate my office, you know, design my office and decorate it, and then it doesn't happen. Right? And it might not just be the loss of money. It could be the loss of my work time and my frustration and then the costs of having to go find someone else, right? So there are all of these risks. And at a higher investment price, right, then what's going to happen is it's going to take longer for people to work with you. But here's the thing. So we think then when we hear potential clients have to trust you, we think that means trust that we're good at what we do. And in a way it is, right? They are going to evaluate that. Is Heather a good designer? I'm going to look at her portfolio and I'm going to see. But I can look at the portfolio and I can look at all of that and still know that Heather's good and still have an issue investing in her because I don't have the missing ingredient. So let's keep with Heather as an example. And I'm wondering if you can pick up on what the missing ingredient is, because there have been hints, right? There have been hints out. There have been hints. So let's assume that I'm a potential client and Heather is a designer, and I know for a fact that a designer is what I have a problem. I know what the problem is, and I know that the solution to my problem is a designer. So then I find Heather, and I know that Heather is good at what she does, and I know that Heather can design, and I know that she'll be able to design the design that I need to solve my problem. So I have satisfied myself with the fact that Heather will design, Heather's design will be good, Heather's design will take care of my problem that I am indeed having. What's the missing ingredient? Why am I still not hiring Heather? Does anybody know? Does anybody know why in this scenario I might not be hiring Heather still? So hi everybody, hi Jennifer, hi people who've come on. So like, Heather's a designer, I need a designer, I have identified a problem. I also now am sure after researching that the only solution to my problem is a designer. I know I need a designer. I find Heather. I then confirm that Heather is a good designer and that Heather can design the way that I need to solve my problem. So check, I have a problem. Check, I'm 100% certain I need a designer. Check, I know Heather can design the kind of design I want. Why am I still not hiring Heather? Does anybody have any idea? Okay, so Arena says urgency. Let's say, no, I'm urgent. I'm urgent. Let's go ahead and add that into the mix. I have an urgent need to solve this problem. So that's a good guess. But for this scenario, I have an urgent need. Do people know why I'm still not hiring Heather? So how much is that problem? No, let's say that it's urgent and it's really bugging me. There's no relationship. So Yulia's getting warm, right? There's no relationship. So just type yes or no if you don't want to type your guess. How many, do you know why I'm not hiring Heather, even with all of those check boxes checked? Yes or no? Do you know why? Yes or no? Or she can say, I've heard it, but I don't remember it. I heard it, but I don't remember it. So how many of you, how many, like yes or no? So again, to recap, Heather, I need a designer. I have a problem, check. I have learned a designer is the only solution to my problem, check. I'm urgent. I need to solve this problem, check. I find a designer, I find Heather, check. I know Heather can design the design that I need, check. I'm comfortable in that. I know she's a good designer. I know her designer will solve my problem. I need this problem solved. I know I have it. It is urgent. I'm still not hiring Heather. Right, so you guys are kind of getting it, right? Here's the thing. 70% of buying decisions are made by how the customer feels about you, the potential customer feels about how they're being treated by you before the sale, right? How they're being treated by you. And that has nothing to do with what you do, okay? It has nothing to do with what you do. But why? Why does it matter? And this is like, I don't want you to think about this as courting, right? Like, well, I'm gonna make them feel real good up front, but once I put that ring on their finger, man, then it's just like sweatpants and couch, right? So think about, that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so we're not talking about that, but it's real, right? But here's like why are 70%, and that's by a survey by the McKinley Group, which is a consulting group that does surveys about customer buying habits and client buying habits. So why is it that 70% of buying decisions are made based on how a person felt before the sale, right? Because at a high investment point, I'm nervous. I'm worried. I'm wanting to know that Heather is going to make me feel good when I'm her client. I want to know that not only will Heather do the job, but that I'm going to have a good experience as her client, that I am going to feel the way I want to feel by working with Heather. So if I want to work with a designer and I'm hoping that that's going to eliminate my stress, let's stick with that. Let's say that I'm like, you know what, I'll hire a designer because this is super stressful and I don't want to be stressed. Okay, so let's pretend that that's the case. Yet, and I'm not saying that this is the case with Heather, it's not. Okay, so can we all just agree? This is a hypothetical, this is not a real life example, right? So let's say that it's really kind of stressful for me to get in touch with Heather. That like I emailed her saying, hey, let's get on the call, and then she emails me back and she's like, yeah, okay, let me get back to you. And then she doesn't get back to me with a date, so then I follow up with her again. And then she gives me like a couple of dates, but we have to keep going back and forth because none of them work. And then I finally like get on the phone with her, or I'm ready for a call and I'm sitting by the phone and she calls in just a few minutes late. And when I'm on the phone with her, like you can hear noise in the background and she kind of keeps every now and then like whispering to a person or two. And then, you know, we're talking and then she's like, okay, cool. I'll send you like a thing or something, right? And like, do you guys see what I'm like? Like, I'm not feeling very good about myself, right? I'm not feeling good about myself because I feel like I'm not being listened to. I feel like I'm not even being treated like I'm important. I feel like I'm an afterthought. I feel like I'm just a sale. I feel like I'm not really a person, right? So there are all of these ways that people want to feel when they make money. And what it relates to is how it will feel to work with you, okay? That is more important than the product or the service itself, and even more important than the solution for the product or the service. Like, that sounds terrible, doesn't it, Heather? That sounds absolutely awful, right? This is terrible. So how you make people feel about what it would be like to work with you, not about what you do and the execution of your skill and how well it will solve their problem, but what it will be like to work with you, period. How they will feel with that is really how people make buying decisions. And here's the problem, right? Most of us are having little to zero kind of personal interaction with a prospective client before the sales call. Is this true for you? Yes or no? So what I mean by that is, like, maybe for you, you go networking and you're at a networking event, you stand up and you say, this is what I do and this is who I help. And there's someone there who you don't know, and they say, wow, I have that problem, and I would like to discuss the solution to that problem with you. And you say, great. And you get them on the call. You get them on the sales call, and you're going through your sales call process, and they're like, yes, you know my problem. You know it. And yes, you do the thing I need you to do to solve my problem. And then like you're talking about how you do it and you're talking about the investment for it and all of that. And then they say, well, you know, I just don't think that I'm kind of ready for that yet. Or I will be, but not yet. So you feel like I'm always talking to people who aren't ready, right? Like I'm in front of people, they're getting on sales calls with me, but I feel like I'm always talking to people who aren't ready to buy. They're just not in a place to buy, right? Like they're not my ideal clients because they're not ready to buy. How many of you have said that before? Like they say that they have a problem, they say my solution will solve their problem, and then they say they're not ready for it yet, so they must not be my ideal clients. They must not be my ideal customers. I need to find people who are ready to buy. And so you keep trying to find different audiences. Be honest, yes or no. Have you done that before? Is that you right now? Are you doing that? Right? You feel like, I keep getting on the phone and all these people say, yes, I know what you do and I know it's good. And also, I'm not quite ready to buy yet. I'm not really, even though I've told you I have this problem and it's urgent and I need to solve it. How many of you are encountering that? So people are like, yes, right? Here's what's really going on. They've had no experience with you yet to really know what it would be like to work with you in that scenario, right? They have no clue what it would be like to work with you. So you have an investment. They are confident that if they pay you money, their problem will be solved. What they're not yet confident on is what the experience of working with you will be like. Does that make sense? So they have to go find that out, or they have to consider it. And here's the problem. So many people are treating that sales conversation like it's the end. So they'll meet somebody at a networking event, somebody will express interest, they'll have a sales call. The sales call will clearly show that this person says, yes, I have a problem. Yes, it's urgent. Yes, your thing will solve my problem. But then they're like, but I'm not really ready to sign up today. I'm not ready to buy today. And then you, the entrepreneur, hearing that says, oh, well, they weren't my right client. I need to find different clients. I need to find a different audience. Or, oh, they're just not ready to buy. So I'll just email them and say, okay, well, whenever you're ready, I'm not saying you use these exact words, but like, okay, whenever you're ready, like, give me a call. Just give me a call when you're ready and we'll talk again. How many of you kind of do that, right? Because in your mind, and it's okay if you do, a majority of people actually do. But in your mind, you have taken that kind of like not for now or no thank you for now, and you've turned that into the end. Like, I met somebody at a networking event, they expressed an interest, we got a sales call, we know for sure they have a problem I can solve, they know it, they know it's urgent, they know I can solve their problem, we're all clear on that. But they say, not yet, not now, this isn't the right time, not for me. And you say, okay, and you kind of write it off. You view that as the end. Like, they're not ready for me yet. When they're ready, they'll come back. Or, gosh, this keeps happening. I'm not in front of the right audience. I must be going to the wrong networking events and getting in front of the wrong people, right? Hi, Pamela. Hi, Jess. Hi, Ray. So I'll stay in touch with them. But Arena, what are you doing when you stay in touch with them? So this is what I'm, so then some of you write it off, like I said. Others of you say, okay, if it's a no for now, I'll stay in touch, right? I'll keep touching base. But what you keep touching base on is, are they ready yet? So you're like, hey, just checking in, seeing how things are going. How's your business been? Let me know. Have you ever taken care of that problem that we talked about? Is that still a problem that you're having? Would you like to talk again about maybe moving forward with that, right? You might give some value too, right? You might be doing your follow-up where you give value. So in that scenario, you're following up and you're saying, hey, it was great talking to you. I know you weren't ready to work with me yet, but here's an article, here's a resource, here's a thing that I think will help you with your problem, right? And so you're giving value around the problem, okay? And you're doing follow-up like that. Arena's like, I comment on their posts, I become their cheerleader, try to bring them good introductions, right? So all of that's really important, right? So what I want you to start doing though is, what if this sales conversation we're talking about that turned into a no thank you, right? Even though all of the other check boxes were checked. What if you looked at that sales conversation as the beginning? What if you just always knew when somebody got on a sales call with you, that wasn't the last step to getting a client? That's just the first step to getting a client. How would that change what you do on your sales call? And I'm going to give you an example about how it's changed what I do on a sales call. Because did you know that the majority of sales do not convert on the first sales call? The majority of sales don't convert on that call. They convert much later. I mean, that's just standard. That's just normal. It's actually rare that a sales call is where you get the client, the very first call, okay? So I'll give you an example from my own book. So I used to do sales calls that were all focused on, what is your challenge? What do you think the solution is? What are your goals? What do you think's holding you back? What do you think you need to get to where you want to go? And I still do all of that. I still do all of that on a sales call, right? And people have to click this form to fill out to have a sales call with me, to have a clarity call with me. So they fill out their form, and these are the questions on the form. Like, what are your challenges? What are your goals? What are you, because that's very important for me to know getting on a sales call. But now I'm revising my form, and I'm asking questions like, so this is my spoiler alert to all of you, right? Do you like coffee or do you like tea? Do you like electronic books or do you like paper books? What keeps you like motivated and go? How do you like to measure your progress? What kind of support motivates you and what kind of support doesn't motivate you? These are questions that usually coaches reserve for an onboarding session for a client that's sold with them, right? Like, what kind of support do you need? What kind of motivation do you need? Tell me how you work, right? All of this stuff, right? And so, but why am I asking if they like coffee or tea? Why am I asking what their hobbies are? Why am I asking like what lights them up and makes them enjoy their day? Why am I asking what the most important thing in their life is, right? I'm a business coach. Why am I asking all of this? Why am I asking what kind of restaurant they like to eat at? Why am I asking them what's like a personal life goal that you want to achieve? Because to me, the sales call is just the beginning, usually. So I will get people on a sales call that I've already had this whole trajectory with, right? But we're going to stick with the example of somebody that's new to me. They haven't been in the Facebook group long. They haven't interacted with me. They haven't met me out. Maybe they saw me speak once and that's it, okay? So I'm looking at the sales call as the beginning and just trying to learn as much as I can about them as a person. Because if they were my client, I would want to know all about them as a person. I would want to know if they like coffee or tea, so I could send them coffee or I could send them tea, because I like sending gifts to my clients. I don't know who here is my client, but how many of you have received a gift from me? How many of you are not my client and you've ever received a gift from me? I love sending gifts, right? I love sending little packages and little things. So I think, how would I be treating my client? I would be sending my clients surprise gifts. I would be sending them personalized videos, cheering them on, right? I would be writing handwritten notes to mark their milestones. I would be shouting out about their business from the mountaintop to my whole community, so my community knows how amazing my clients are and what they're all about. I would be, you know, doing like fun touch bases to mark their milestones. I would be sending them something to like measure their progress. I would be doing all of this stuff, right? Because it's how my clients feel. So like, how do I make my clients feel? I make my clients feel fully supported, excited, fun, right? And like changed, impacted, heard, seen, felt. Like, there are a lot of ways that I want to make my clients feel. But I need to make somebody feel like that before they'll become a client with me. So if somebody has just met me at seen me speaking, maybe I make them feel excited. I like to think I'm a speaker that can make people feel excited. So maybe I make somebody feel excited and hopeful and ready, right? But I haven't hit the other points. They don't know yet, well, should I hand over money to Rita? Is she really going to make me feel the way I want to feel when I'm working with a coach, right? So then they get on the sales call with me. Well, I don't know anything about them yet, and they don't know how I'll make them feel. So we're talking, and we go through the whole sales call, and they're like, I know it, Rita. I know that this is what's going to change my business. I know you can change my business. I'm just not ready yet, right? It's not the right time. Okay, cool, right? So instead of following up and just giving like touch bases around, so are you ready yet? Like, just checking in to see how your business is going. Let me know if you're ready to work with me as your coach, right? And instead of just also sending value around their business challenges, this is my opportunity to build a relationship with them, which is like, how can I make them feel right now like I would if they were my client? I could surprise and delight them with a gift. When I see that they hit a milestone, I can send them a handwritten card. I can give them just a text message if I have that ability, or a phone call if they give me their phone number to say, hey, I saw this thing and I just wanted you to know that I think you're doing great. Way to go. I could shout out their business, right? I can do all of this stuff for them that I would do for my client. And they're going to think, because it's true, if she's treating me like this and I'm not even her client, then when I am her client, wow, right? If she treats her clients better than she treats prospective clients even, and this is how she's treating me, like, wowzer, right? Because the worry in people is that you're going to treat them well before the sale, but you're not going to treat them well after the sale. That's before they know you. So the default mindset is, yeah, of course this person's going to make me feel like they're going to take care of me and they're going to hear me and see me and be there for me when I need them. Of course they're going to say that. They just want the sale. So they need to go validate that. Does that make sense? Are you guys following me? So like, then the question is, how does that change how you approach your sales call? What kind of information are you getting on a sales call form before people can book a sales call with you? To maybe, what kinds of questions are you asking on a sales call? What kind of information are you looking for about them? Because another thing you can do to make this go very well is when you know you're going to have a prospective call, research them. We live in an era where there's a lot of information on the internet, and that's not stalking somebody. That's doing your homework to know about the people that might want to give you a lot of money. Right? And so it's like, I want to read their Facebook pages if I can, and get on their LinkedIn and Google their name and see if they've written any articles. But I'm not just looking for business stuff about business coaching and their business. I'm looking for life stuff so I can find a way to connect with them. So I shared a story where this kind of definitely went bad, right, in the Facebook group. Not for me, but me as a client. There was a program that I was 90% ready to invest in a couple of years ago. It was for paid professional speakers, people who wanted to be paid professionally to speak, and it was a $35,000 program, which sounds like a high investment, but I knew without a doubt that the information in this program was going to change my speaking career and I would make more money than that. I knew without a doubt. I knew it from testimonials. I knew it from the actual lives of people who have been through the program before. I knew this. I knew it without a doubt. So I was not so worried about investing $35,000 because I was certain that I would do what it took to make that investment back, and that the investment itself, the actual technical pieces, were going to do what it needed to do. However, right, I don't know if you read the story I shared, but they made my life a living hell when I was trying to so I wanted this $35,000 program, right? This $35,000 year-long service. And I just wanted to know a little more about the coach, right? I needed to make sure I was actually going to like working with a coach, that our values aligned. That's important to me. I don't need to agree with them on their methods, because if I knew what my methods should be, I would be that high-paid public speaker. So I want to do things differently than I do them. I don't need to be comfortable with that. I need to be comfortable with their morals, their judgments, their values, how they view the world. So I wanted to know. So I emailed, and I got no answer. And then I emailed a different line, and I got a different email, and I got an automated response back saying, here's some FAQs we get about the program. Also, we're having a webinar tomorrow. You can join us there. I was a little irritated, but I was like, okay, so I joined the webinar. It took me 20 minutes to realize the webinar wasn't really live. It was like one of those webinars that look live, but it wasn't live, and those weren't real live questions that were happening, and previously recorded and all this stuff. And I was irritated about that. But at the end of the webinar, they said, well, we're having an in-person event in your area that you can come to and learn more. And I thought, oh, I'm so ready to be done with this program. I'm so ready to not sign up. But I was like, well, maybe the coach doesn't even know this is happening. Maybe it's a big team, whatever. Like maybe the program, I'm going to meet the coach and just know once I'm in, it's going to be great, right? So I went, and I didn't get to talk to the coach because the coach was kept at an arm's length. But I got to talk to her team, and her team immediately started the hard sales. Immediately, right? First, they were ignoring my questions. They were telling me what they wanted me to hear and not answering the questions that I had, and that was frustrating. And then they started guilt tripping me. How many of you have ever been guilt tripped or shamed by a salesperson before? Because it's terrible. I don't know if you use that as a sales technique. I would not be the right coach for you if you think that that's the way to sell. If you think you have to shame people to make people feel like they need to buy your product or service, right? So what do I mean by that? She was saying things like, you're not really serious about your business if you're not going to sign up today. People who are serious about their business, they're making fast decisions to sign up today, right? She was also saying, oh, so you want to talk to your husband about this? And I was like, yeah, about a $35,000 investment? Yes, I want to talk to my husband about this because we're married and I would like to stay married to my husband, right? To which she was like, oh, so your husband has to give you permission to live the life that you want and to build your dreams, right? I was like, oh my God. Then she started saying, well, I've looked at your business and you make poor decisions. You're undercharging. You're not showing up at the level that you need to be showing up at with the branding you need to be showing up at. So you're never going to get the high paid speaking engagements. And the only way that you can do this is to sign up for our program. That's the only way that you can do this, right? And I got up and walked out. I was 90% ready before I had an interaction with them to give them $35,000. 90%. They just had to confirm for me the final 10%, and it all went downhill. Because the way that I wanted to feel by somebody that I would give $35,000 to was the exact opposite of how they were making me feel. They did not make me feel special. They did not make me feel unique. They did not make me feel valued. They did not make me feel like I was good at what I did. I want my program people to make me think I'm amazing. Tell me I am the best public speaker in the world, right, to motivate me to really rock that program, right? I got up and I walked out. Right? Now, that's an extreme example. But my point is, they had my sale 90% because I knew they solved my problem and my problem was urgent. The reason they lost it is because of how they made me feel about who I was as a person and how I would feel as their client. Because if I felt like that then, before they got my money, I just felt like it was going to be worse after they got my money, right? And so that's what I mean by people are losing sales even though they're connecting emotionally to their audience, and even though they're demonstrating that their product or their service can solve a problem, like, because they're not illustrating through their marketing. They're not illustrating through their sales conversations. They're not illustrating through their progression of the relationship with the person that it is a relationship and that they care about the person and that they want that person to feel a certain way, which is why I asked today, what if you treat the sales conversation like it's the beginning? Most of you are treating the sales conversation like it's the end. If it does not result in a sale, then that's just, oh man, right? Like, I met them at a networking event and I did 1 or 2 follow-ups and then they got on the phone and then they said no, even though they know what I do solves their problem. So whatever, I'm in front of the wrong audience or whatever, I guess people just aren't ready for me or whatever. I guess, you know, I'm getting in front of the wrong crowd or whatever, right? But no, it's not the end. That phone conversation is just the beginning. It's the door opening to this ongoing learning about somebody, building a potential relationship in them, right? Not in them as a prospect, in them as a person. So you're able, through normal personal interactions that really have nothing to do with your business ultimately, right? Like, I mean, in the moment, like, that you will make them feel as a person in the world a certain way that happens to mirror the way you're going to make clients feel. So they know that to be true. And so you're learning more so that when they're ready to re-engage or when it feels right, they're going to go ahead and do it, right? Does that make sense? Are you guys getting, like, yes, no? How are we doing on that, right? So I'll hear questions. I mean, I'll hear statements all the time like, look, Rita, I know relationship building takes a while, but, okay, but. I know relationship building takes, how many of you have said that before? I know relationship building takes a while, but I still need sales and I need money right now. Look, Rita, I'm connecting with people, but they're not ready to buy. So the scenario we just said. I feel like I'm exercising all of this effort and I'm just not getting results. I'm just not getting results. How many of you have said something like that before? Arena, yeah, absolutely. You should absolutely ask them, right? They have identified that you have a solution to their problem and that they know you can. This is after you've asked if they'd like to move forward with you as their photographer, and they're like, yeah, but you know, not now. And you talk to them around that a little bit, and they're like, still not yet. Great, okay, right? I want you to be sure that this is the right decision when it's the right decision, right? So yes, you still ask them, right? So people are saying yes, they've said these phrases before, right? So the first thing I do as a coach is when I hear these things, I usually investigate. How long have you really been building relationships? And they're like, I've been at it for weeks, Rita. I've been at it for weeks. I've been at it for months, Rita. For like 3 or 4 months, I have gone to this thing, and I am nurturing relationships with people. And it's been over the course of 2 months that I've sent back and forths to this person. And like, I have put in so much effort. It's like, what? You have sent a couple of emails back and forth over the course of 2 or 3 months, right? And usually then I dig into the quality of it. They're not actually building a relationship in those follow-ups. They're just trying to get on the phone, or they're trying to get a scheduling thing down, or they're just like saying, hey, are you ready to talk about this yet? Or are you ready to work with me? Are you ready to, but they're not like the way you would meet if you wanted to meet a friend or a date, a partner, and you're asking all these questions about them. That's not what's happening, right? So I'll find out either they haven't really been building relationships long, focused on that, or they're not consistent with it. They're sometimes following up with people. They're sometimes not. They're sometimes engaged in it. They're sometimes not, right? Or their mindset is not right around it. They're not really, they're saying I'm building relationships, but their mindset around it is still I need a sale. I'm doing this to get a sale, which is why they're like, I'm not getting any results from it, Rita. I'm not getting any results from it because they're still attached to this leading to a sale. That's not building a relationship when you have a predetermined outcome for what you want that relationship to turn into, right? It's like you're just giving to get. You're not giving to give, which is what you give in a real relationship without expectation of what you're going to get back. You're giving because that's who you are as a person. That's what your core values are, right? So their mindset's not right about it. Or, right, like I said, they have been following up and they have been going back and forth, but it hasn't been around relationship building stuff at all. And then it's also, there's investigating the truth around that statement of I'm not getting results, because they're usually getting results. They're getting responses. They're getting people saying, yes, I'd like to schedule a clarity call with you. I'd like to get together for coffee with you. Wow, yeah, this sounds interesting. Put me on your list. Like they're getting responses. They're just not getting sales, which loops back to they're attached to the sale. They're not really approaching this like relationship building. Right? And what is more important than the product or service or sale is the relationship building piece, the emotional connection of how somebody is going to feel when they are around you, right? Because that is what 70% of buying decisions are made off of, that will make them buy, right, from you. And so you have to let go of the expectation that a certain connection or conversation will lead to a sale. You have to let go of that expectation. While also being certain in the success of your business. And here's what I mean. I am certain that I'm going to make 7 figures in my business, minimum. I am certain I'm going to run a 7-figure business. I don't know when. I don't know how I'm going to get 7 figures, but I'm certain that I will be a 7-figure business owner. Certain of it, right? So when I say I know it to be true, and also I don't need to worry then about when and how it will happen, I'm just certain that it will happen. So now all I have to do is show up as me and engage as me and do what's in alignment with my values and pour out value and have conversations with people and build relationships with people, right? And I'm not attached to if that specific person becomes a client, because I know, right, that people will. And so that's so it's like, how do you do that, right? And so I gave an example of one of my clients where we created a relationship building strategy so she could focus on that and move her attention away from the sale. So what we did is we identified information like what I shared. What information would just be good to know that can help me build a deep relationship to show people what it would be like to work with me? So if I know that when people work with me, I send gifts, I need to know what delights them and lights them up. If I know that I send books, I need to know if they like paper books or electronic books. If I want them to feel supported, I need to ask questions that will allow me to get information to support them later on. If I want them to feel heard, I need to engage in deep listening on the call, but also off the call. If I want them to feel excited, I need to learn about what excites them and how they get excited. If I want them to feel motivated, I need to learn about what motivates them so that after the call, I can continue to make them feel like that, right? So we identified the information that would be good for her to touch base on. And so she's like, yeah, when I have a client, I always know what's going on in their family. I send little cards. I mark family milestones. Great, cool. Let's then ask what some of those are. What's your birthday? How old are your kids? Oh my gosh, when did they start school? Like, right? Oh, how long have you been married? Right? When did you get married? Was it a spring wedding? And so it's like, oh, I got married in April. It's like, oh, okay, right? Like you're learning this information. So that's piece one. What information do you need to learn to be able to build a real relationship with a potential client, right? And then number two is, and this might be before they ever get on the phone with you. It might be after they've booked a call before you're on the phone with them. Maybe there's a gap and you're learning this, or you learn it before you get on the phone call. Or maybe there's somebody you want to be your client. So you're doing all of this and then inviting them onto a sales call with you, right? So there are different stages for this, but you guys understand like the general point, right? So number one is like identifying that information, and number two is storing it in a customer relationship management system, a CRM. This is why I always find out, where are people shopping, where are people eating, what groups do people hang out in for business and fun, what little tokens, what are their hobbies, what are their interests. So when I'm out at a networking event and I'm talking to somebody, I'm always asking about them and not me. So I'd be like Christine here. Christine says, well, I'm a huge component of human emotional connection. 95% of every purchasing, yeah. So they've actually done a study, 70% of people buy specifically based on how you make them feel in terms of how they want to feel as a client. So how you make them feel before they're a client, they want that to match with how they want to feel when they're your client. And 70% of decisions are made on that, 70%, right? Not just about you, it has nothing to do with your skills or your ability to do the job or anything like that. It has nothing to do even with the mission or the vision of your company. It has to do with how you personally made them feel as a person, right? And so that's been super interesting, right? It's like, you have to, like, if I want to feel like you're going to be there for me, or that you're going to care about my wins, or that you're going to whatever, right? Then you have to show me those specific things. So you have to know stuff. So if you know you want your clients to feel like you pay attention to detail, how are you paying attention to detail of prospects, right? And letting them know that and telling them that. So you have to find out the information that will allow you to establish a real relationship, right? And it's not about sale at all. It's about the relationship, right? Because relationships bring sales, so focus there. So number one, you gotta have that information. Number two, you gotta have CRM. And you can enter all kinds of fun information in there. You can tag them with the word tennis if they love tennis. You can, that way if you come across tickets to the whatever open, I don't play tennis, so to the whatever open, you could email and say, hey, I have tickets, like, do you want them, right? I mean, you can tag with their birth dates, you can tag with milestones, you can tag with goals and desires and dreams, right? So that you're able to like really build a meaningful relationship with people, finding out more, sending them things that will delight them, right? Then you have to devise a system to effectively use that information. And that's bigger than today, right? But that's what I help my clients with, like a strategy where it's not weird or creepy, and you're really legitimately just building relationships with people, right? So how many of you do that? How many of you find all of this kind of relationship building information out about prospects before they ever even maybe schedule a call with you, or before they schedule a call with you, or between when they say no thank you and beyond, right? That you're doing this, that you're learning all this stuff and tagging key things in a relationship management system that will let you, spoiler alert, manage the relationship. Right? So customer relationship management isn't just current customers. It's for your leads and your prospects too, right? But it's also a good way to deepen the client relationship. So it's like that piece, and if you look at the sales conversation as just the beginning, that's just the beginning of your relationship. How would you treat it differently, right? You might ask for the sale. You might not ask for the sale. So there's a great story. There's a guy, he's an expert on all this stuff. His name is Joey Coleman. He's amazing. He's from this area. He's amazing. He's amazing. He is hysterical, and he is amazing. And he tells a story about, he had a contract worth about $35,000, and he went into this guy's office, and when he went in, it was like golf heaven. It was like golf memorabilia everywhere, right? He sat down, and he knew he wanted this contract, but he didn't talk about his product or service at all. He talked about golf. He talked about golf with this guy the entire time. And when it got to and one of the things they talked about was that Joey, was going to play golf at Torrey Pines. And I don't know how many of you know that, but Torrey Pines is a beautiful golf course. If you've never been there, it's beautiful. Torrey Pines is beautiful. And the guy said, I've never played at Torrey Pines. I'm so jealous, I've never played. Then all of a sudden he looked at the clock and he said, I hate to do this to you, Joey. We've talked about golf the entire time, but I've got another meeting. I've got to go. Joey said, no problem. Here's the information. Here's the proposal, right? I'll follow up with you, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was like, great, thanks, right? So Joey went to Torrey Pines. And when he was there, he saw a little collector, because like the US Open or something was being played there at the time. He saw this little golf ball thing that said like both Torrey Pines and the US Open. And he took it and he mailed it, right? This is like a week or so, a week or two, a week and a half after he met with the guy. He mailed it to the guy saying, for your, I hope that this brings something fun to your golf collection or whatever. Later that afternoon, the guy faxed in the signed contract, right? And it was because when Joy talked to him, that guy was like, you remembered that. You remembered that detail about me. You talked about golf with me the entire time. You didn't even ask me for the sale. You didn't even talk about your product or service. You remembered that about me, even though I hadn't followed up with you yet. You mailed me that thinking that it was something I would not have in my collection. If you give me that much attention and that much like detail and that much thought now, you're the kind of business that I want to work with. Okay, so it's like feeling that out. Do you guys see that, right? So here's the thing though. So this gets me to a little piece about when I was a dating coach. So a lot of my clients, right, will say things like when I say, so what is it that you help your clients feel? What I take care of my clients. I take care of my clients. How many of you take care of your clients? Yes or no? How many of you take care of your clients? And tell them that you take care of them. Yes or no? Curious, how many, right? I take care of my clients. I'm there for my clients. I pay attention to detail. I support my clients. How many of these are phrases that you guys have said? Yes, no? I pay attention to detail. I support my clients. I blah, 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 right? Those are what I call empty adjectives. And they used to come up all the time in online dating. So in online dating, my clients would be like, I like to travel, right? Well, those are empty phrases, not adjectives. But like, I like to travel is an empty adjective. Like, I like to travel. I'm adventurous. I'm adventurous. That's the one I used in the example. So I'm adventurous. That's like, what does that mean? You might think adventurous is whitewater rafting down the Amazon, and I might think adventurous is going to the same hotel every year in the Wisconsin Dells, going to my same bar, right? That might be my definition of travel, adventure travel, right? Adventurous means nothing. I'm funny. Funny means nothing. Do you like slapstick, sarcasm, puns? Like, what kind of funny are you, right? Like, the idea is show it, don't tell it. Show it, don't tell it. So like with dating clients, it'd be, don't tell me you're adventurous. Tell me a story about a time you were adventurous, right? Which is like, I love hopping on my Harley and just driving through the mountains on a moment's notice in beautiful weather. That shows me what you mean by adventurous. It helps me see if I'm going to be a good fit for you. If I don't like Harleys and I don't like mountains and I don't like that, right? You're not a good fit for me. And that's what it, like, how will I feel excited? Like, oh my gosh, you like spontaneity and you like, if that's what I'm looking for, I'm going to know I am a good fit for you, right? People are like, instead of saying I'm funny in online dating profiles, right? So if you're single, congratulations, you're getting some tips. Just say I'm funny and I like to laugh, as opposed to people who are going to put on their profile, I don't like to laugh and I really just like humor. No, tell a joke. So I know what kind of funny, and you will attract people that appreciate. If I don't like puns and you put some puns in your profile, I'm not going to email you, and that's okay because I'm not the right person for you, right? So are you using empty phrases in your marketing? Yes or no? Are you saying things like I help clients, I support clients, I listen to my clients, you are important, my clients are important, you are important, you have unlimited access to me, right? Maybe you're a coach and you say between your coaching sessions, you have unlimited access to me. That's an empty phrase. Or I care about your success. I'm invested in you. I'm invested in you. I care about you. I want to make sure I will make sure that your business is successful. I want you to succeed. I support you. I hear you. I listen to you. How many of you are saying phrases like that? Those are empty phrases in your marketing and sales. Those are empty phrases. Show people through stories, show people through testimonials and case studies, but not about the results people got from solving the problem, about what it was like for those things that you're trying to tell clients. If you want clients to feel supported, then have a client tell a story about a time they felt supported and how. So the details are in the how for that. It's not enough to tell them, you have to show them, but you have to paint a detailed picture about what somebody's experience was as a client with you. You know, I remember this one time I emailed Rita at 8 o'clock at night, and even though she doesn't return calls until after 7, she saw it was important. And not only did she respond, but she picked up the phone and she called me because she knew it was that important to me. And she took time to sit there on her Friday night and listen to me. Now, isn't that a better example of me being there for my client and how I'm there for my client than just saying, I'm there for you, I support you, right? Instead of me saying, I am invested in your success, what about if I told a story about a client of mine who had an event, and I took that event and I sent it out to my newsletter and I put it out to my public and to my community, and I went through and I even made it like a special bonus for my clients to attend the event. And then I advertised that I would be at the event. And then I offered to speak at the event for free because I knew that would also draw people to the event, right? And so then this woman had a super successful event. Doesn't that show more the way that I support my clients, like their business, and I am invested in their success, than me saying I'm invested in their success? So that's doing two things. It's allowing them to see how I'm going to make them feel the way that I'm saying I'm going to make them feel, right? I'm telling them I'm going to make them feel certain ways and they're going to experience certain things. What I'm not doing is painting the picture of how. So I paint that picture through stories, through examples. I do interviews with clients where they're talking about that. I share case studies around that piece because, again, these are people who already have said, yes, what you do solves a problem. Yes, I have the problem. Yes, I know you're good at the thing you do, but no, I'm still not ready to work with you. It's because they're missing this piece. They don't know how you're actually going to follow through on these promises that are super important when they're investing a higher dollar amount. When somebody's investing money, thousands of dollars, and you are more, a couple of $1,000s, they want to know that how are you going to support me? How do I truly have unlimited access to you? How is it that you're going to support my success? How is it that you're going to be there for me when I need you? How, right? So case studies that illustrate your how through stories, how you make clients feel important, how you support your clients, how you demonstrate and invest in your client's success, right? So other clients sharing those stories, you sharing those stories. How many of you are doing that? Or how many of you are now going to walk away from this and commit to doing that? I would love to know. Put that in the comments, right? And if you're watching on replay, also please put that in the comments, right? Also, ask me anything. Like these sessions on Facebook Live, I'm doing an Ask Me Anything. Ask the expert. Come and ask me anything, right? Not only will you get an example of like my expertise, but you're gonna know what it would be like to ask me questions. You're gonna know how open I am, how forthright I am, like how I listen. Do I pay attention to detail? Like, am I exciting you with my answers? Like, am I getting you empowered to want to make a change in your business, right? Behind the scenes photos and videos of you working with a client, right? There is a woman who has a whole podcast that is nothing but coaching a client. She's a coach, and she decided to start a podcast that just shows the process of what it's like to work with her by recording her coaching sessions and then editing those a little bit to give some insight and putting them out there. The most brilliant marketing in the world, no? Like, innovative and interesting, sure. Informative from a substantive. You could take that information and use it for your business, absolutely, right? She's a business coach. But also, what an amazing way to let people feel what it would feel like to work with you, right? To experience that. So like behind the scenes photos, behind the scenes videos of you actually working with a client or customer, make it feel like they're there. So they feel like that could be me. I could be the one, Arena, with wind blowing through my hair as you take photos of me, like looking and having fun while we're dancing to music and making me feel confident and good. That's what Arena does as a photographer, so I can't wait to go have that experience. Look how fun it is, right? And then also sample like this. Facebook Lives are even better if you're a coach, especially like trainings, workshops, seminars. The reason that those work is because it's also a great example of what it will be like to work with you. That guy I told you about, Joey, he had another story about going to a workshop, going to a conference, and when he walked in, the creator of this conference handed him a 6-pack of root beer. Because you see, Joey doesn't drink alcohol and he doesn't drink other sodas, but he does drink root beer. And all they had were other sodas and alcohol. And the guy had done enough research on Joey to know Joey drank root beer. So he had a 6-pack of root beer just for Joey and said, look, this is for you guys, for you to drink. There are other drinks, but this is for you, right? Joey was like, my gosh, like, that's amazing. How are they going to make me feel once I'm a client? Probably 10 times better than that, right? But also the workshop showcase, right? What it would be like to be their client. They were doing actual exercises. They were sitting there. They were learning there. So what kind of in-person or virtual experience can you give people, prospects, your audience, your community that will say, my God, like, look, guys, I hope you guys see this, right? I have been on this live for an hour and 10 minutes because we had the storm at the beginning that kind of started this a little late. I had this slated to end at 6 o'clock. I have a client call at 7, which I just remembered, by the way. like it popped up, right? I have a client call at 7. I'm still here because I want you to get all of the information. I would hope that you guys would be like, gosh, if Rita does this for us here in her free Facebook group, what is she doing for her clients? What kind of support is she giving her clients, right? That's what you need to do for your prospective clients. So learn these details, surprise and delight them, show them, don't tell them, right? So ask yourself, is your marketing and sales process doing all of this? And here's like the other little piece. If you're not showing up consistently for your marketing and sales process, right? Meaning you have a newsletter, but you don't send it out consistently. Or you have a Facebook group, but you don't post in it consistently. Maybe you say you're always going to do a Thursday tip. You're always going to do a Thursday tip. That's the only thing I can think of that's alliteration. So you're always going to do a Thursday tip in your Facebook group. But some Thursdays you don't, and then you show up on Friday and you're like, well, I missed it yesterday, but I'll do it today. And then maybe you don't do it a week and you're like, well, it was a holiday, so I didn't really think anybody was going to be in the group, so I didn't do it, right? Maybe you say that you're going to do a Facebook Live, but then nobody shows up for the Facebook Live, so you don't do it. So then people go to look for the replay and the replay's not there because you didn't do it. Maybe you say you're going to, like, I don't know, like go to an event and then you don't go. Maybe you say you're going to be at a networking event. You keep RSVPing yes to a networking event and you don't show. So the organizer and all the members are like, wow, she never comes. Like, what signal do you think that that's sending to your potential market, right? When you're not consistent with your marketing actions, right? If you're not consistently following through on your sales process, right? If you're not like always doing like what signal do you think that sends out to people, especially around your marketing? That you're not consistent. What do most people want when they're paying you a lot of money? They want to know that you're going to follow through on what you say and you're going to be consistent, right? So when you're not being consistent in your marketing to get clients, they're really worried about what you're going to be like after they become a client and what you're doing for your clients, right? So you really need to look at your marketing and sales process and say, A, am I doing all of these things we talked about today? Am I doing all of this stuff to make my clients feel what it's going to be like, an experience, what it's going to be like to work with me now? Like, are they feeling that now? Am I showing them instead of telling them? But also, are inconsistencies in my actions sending conflicting messages? Are inconsistencies in my actions sending conflicting messages, right? Because when you're inconsistent, you send a message that you can't be trusted, period. Not just with your newsletter or not just with the thing you're being inconsistent with, but inconsistent, period. If you are a productivity coach and you show up online always talking about how your day got away from you and you're so sorry you didn't do something, but you're giving yourself like grace, and that's fine once or twice, but you keep showing up and doing that, that sends a signal that you can't be trusted to actually deliver on what you're telling people. Because if you can't do it for yourself, you're not going to do it for them. If you're a social media manager and you don't have your own high social media following, right, because you're not consistently doing the work, your own marketing work to get followers, right? How are people going to trust that you're going to get them high followers if you're not even doing it for yourself? They're not going to see that you're only doing it for your clients, right? They're going to go, wow, this feels incongruent to me in some way. So like, ask yourself that. Like, so what's one thing you guys are committed to doing to align your marketing, your visibility, your sales process, and those actions with how you want your clients to feel? What is something that you're willing to do? Like, share that with me, right? I would love to know. So like, guys, right, this is it, right? These are the things. So hopefully this helped. I would love to know an aha or takeaway from people who are still here and on the replay. What is something you're going to do differently as a result of this? What's a new aha? Like, what's a new insight? What's an aha? What's a new action? What's a new way of looking at things? What's something that you're going to investigate? What's something that you're going to do? And guys, if you feel like you have been getting lots of sales calls or lots of interest and people are saying, I know what you do is valuable and I know I have this problem and I know you can solve it, but I'm not going to work with you yet, I'm not ready yet, the missing piece is somewhere in here. And so I would love for you to get on the phone with me for a free complimentary call, complimentary call, right? Clarity call. And let's talk about it. Like, let's see where in your process this might not be coming through. This might not be happening. Where you have the opportunity to improve it. Let's just get clear about that, right? Let's really like pinpoint where your challenge is so that you can change it. And I have 3 client spots available for the rest of the year. Like, once these 3 private client spots are gone, I'm booked until 2020. And so if that's you, right, and you know this is, I need strategies like this. I need, like, again, if you have been saying, I know a business coach would change my life, I know that working with Rita would change my business, I know that, right, again, it's like, is it that you don't know from me how it will feel to be my client? Let me know. Is it that you don't know enough about me yet to know that, right? Is it that I haven't showcased something to you that needs to be showcased? Like, let's talk about that. But if I have, if you're like, no, and I know Rita will really support me and make me feel amazing, I know that what she'll do will change my business. I know I have the problem. I know I need to change that problem. I need a different result with my business. Get on the phone with me. Take one of my 3 final spots because my rates are going up in 2020. And that's going to be another Facebook Live because it's a really interesting model that I can't take credit for, but that I'm doing. And I think you guys are going to learn a lot from it in terms of your business. But they're going up in 2020. So anybody that signs up this year gets this year's rates, right? Right? And also, if you think you might want to work with me, but not until 2020, and you sign up with a deposit, you'll still get this year's rates, right? That's how important it is to me to just know that people are ready to make this change. Because there are little things like this all the time that are just holding people back. Like, you're this close. You're like, you're right there and you don't know what it is. You don't know what the missing ingredient is, and you just need somebody to pull the curtain back to kind of like clean house, organize things a little bit, and connect you to it. And then you have these huge breakthroughs, right? So I would love to know what your aha is. I would love to know what you're going to do differently. Arena says more ideas for building relationships. Alex is consistency because it's so important, right? And I get it. It can be really hard, but that's why instead of focusing on tons of things to do for visibility, tons of things to do for marketing, it's better to focus on one and just be really consistent with it and go all in with it and get big results from it than be inconsistent with a lot of things that will just get you a lot of inconsistent results, right? If you're thinking that you want to talk to me, comment below or message me and I will send you information on scheduling a call. In fact, I think it's probably, if you're at this stage, one of the most important things that you can do because we're already almost at the end of July, guys. Right? We're going to be at the end of 2019 before you can blink an eye. And if this is just something you keep saying to yourself, I can't wait until I can have a business coach. I can't wait till I have a partner to help me with this. I can't wait to really bust through and break through in my business. I can't wait, right? And you're still spinning your wheels, like why, right? If you feel like I'll support you, if you feel like you know that, if you feel like you're going to feel like a partner and that I'm in your corner, and if I've illustrated that to you, which I hope I have and I will continue to do, let's do it. Like, let's do it. Like, I am so all about, in fact, save the date for July 26th, guys. It's going to be an amazing day, and I'm about to do some teasing about it. And all I'm saying is who's ready to commit to the 26th of July. And I'm not even telling you what you're doing. It doesn't cost any money. But I'm going to say who's ready to commit to the 26th of July. And I just want people who will say yes. So that's the kind of people I'm like hungry for, I'm ready for, because you're right there at whatever the next level is. And I want to be the one to get you there because there's nothing more rewarding to me. So if you think that's you, let me know in the comments. Say, Rita, I want to have a call. Rita, I want to have a call. And we will get on the phone. We will make that happen sooner than later. We will see if coaching is the right next step. You know, we'll decide together if coaching with me is the right next step for you at this time. Don't think about it anymore. Don't wonder if or when. Let's just get clear about it. It might not be now. It might not be till later you need it. It might not be later till it's the right time for you. But don't wonder. let's just have a free call and get clear about it, right? And also get clear about this, what we talked about today, like where you might be falling through, right? So, all right, guys, have a great day. I am going to see you next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is actually going to be about the thing that I can't talk about. So I don't know how I'm going to market this one, but it's going to be about this thing that I don't want anybody to know what it is till the 26th. So on Wednesday, right, because the 26th is Friday, so on Wednesday I'll be talking about it without talking about it and getting you so excited about it. But it's good. It's going to be so good. I can't wait. I'm so excited about this. All right. Anyway, questions, let me know. Watching on the replay, let me know. Want to work with me? Let me know, because I am ready. I am ready to. I do not have client spots open a lot. So the fact that I actually opened additional client spots because I decided that I wanted to help a few more people than I normally do. So I cleared out space in my calendar. I actually rearranged some stuff. I said no to a speaking opportunity so that I would have more spots to work with more clients this year before my rates go up. Because I actually want you to lock in at this rate. But I mean, why not? I liked locking in at a lower rate with my coach, right? So I would love for you to lock in at a lower rate with me. But like, I cleared out space. I don't always have spots open because my coaching is 6 months. It's a 6-month commitment. So once I'm at my client max, I'm at my max for like 6 months, which is why once these 3 spots are gone, I'm booked till at least the end of the year, right? I'm booked till the beginning of 2020. So let's do it. I'm ready. Let's do it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Let's do it. Stay tuned for next week. It's gonna be a crazy week. It's gonna be so much fun. I wish I could talk about it. We'll see how I end up talking about it. It's good. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one. Bye.